The battles rage at the front of the final round of the 2021 My Bike Motorcycle Insurance Australian Superbike Championship presented by Motul, but none more so than at the front of the Motorsports TV Supersport 600 category. The feeder into the big bikes, the Superbike. So I sat down with the top three to chat about this very tight championship.
I've obviously overcome a lot in the last few years, so for me it's a main thing to try and do this for myself, because I've worked pretty hard trying to fight through battles, and then I'm here now, so this is a really important weekend for myself, and obviously to win it would mean a lot, but I think everyone thinks it's theirs, whether they're first, fifth, in contention mathematically, everyone wants to win it. So at the end of the day, it's no one's until Sunday. But anyways, I'm in the best position for it. I've got the most points, so I'm just going to go out, do my best, enjoy the weekend, and hopefully on Sunday I can bring it home.
Yeah, this weekend I got the chance to win the championship mathematically, and it's definitely probable. And leading up to the race, we've had so long before the race coming into it with the same points gap because we haven't been racing. I've been thinking about it a lot, and over the break when COVID was on and we couldn't race, I definitely trained a lot knowing that the last round was going to come around at the end of the year, and I'm excited to be here and confident. So Broc and I have been racing each other on dirt track and all the way through 300s, and just kind of always caught up with each other, and even on 65s, 50s, 85s, we were always at the front together and battling for Aussie titles and stuff. And I mean, it's come down to the last round, and I've got a lot of respect for Broc. I think he has the same for me, and whoever wins, which I think will be me, but I think we still always have respect for each other on the racetrack.
Checker flag hasn't drawn yet, has it? So I don't think that's the case. We're all confident, we're all probably riding the best we've ever had before, so I suppose that's fair of him to think that, but I certainly think the opposite. To win the championship after however many years Dad won, I think it was like 15 or something like that, so I think that'd be really cool to do after Dad won it, and it's such a tough class. It's the toughest the class has been probably since Dad last raced in it, so it's just cool to be a part of that and sort of to think like that, so I think to take the championship, it'll be a special one. It'll be my first Australian championship in road racing, so I think it'll be a special one.
Let's have a look at that grid, and it is the man that leads the championship by 8 points, sitting on pole position, Broc Pearson on bike number 17, Tom Edwards and Luke Power on the front row of the grid, with Max Stauffer third place in the championship, heading up row 2 with John Littris. Keep your eye on him, and the man we were just talking about, Tom Bramage.
Billy Van Erd starts row 3 with Harrison Voigt, the two internationals there. Scotty Nicholson on the Yamaha down in 9th.
So it's good to see Billy Van Erd and Harry Voigt coming back from overseas to ride here. It has been a very international flavour this weekend, of course, with a few other riders that people may have heard of. Jack Miller and Josh Hook also joining the field this weekend as the riders head off on their warm-up lap.
Yeah, this is going to be a real cracker of a race. Obviously, it's very intensive on the tyres this circuit, so everyone's going to be taking it quite easy on their out lap just to make sure that they can, not put laps on those tyres. The three right-handers around the back of the circuit here, Yamaha through to Donese, 8, 9 and 10, really take a toll on tyre life. So it's all about conserving the tyres through the race. On these 600s, they do push out a fair bit of punch, 130 horsepower more or less to 140, which is, they're pretty much stock engines, but they still get the rear wheel spinning on these things, traction control fitted, all the modern cons, so interesting to see how they go.
I think you made a very extremely important point before, Steve, when you said that the championship probably can't be won in this race, but if you make a mistake and you don't score any points, you could lose your opportunity to feature in the championship battle come race 2 this afternoon.
Well, you're absolutely right. Broc Pearson, there's no doubt about it. He's under a lot of pressure at the moment. Tommy Edwards, he rides like a wild cowboy all the time, so I think he's just going to go for it. And then Maxi Stauffer starting off the second row of the grid. He's probably got it in his head that qualifying doesn't matter as much, and we know that team, they're always chipping away at making that bike better. So I'm sure that we're going to see him feature in this race as well up front.
Yeah, I did speak to Max yesterday afternoon, and he actually said that his pace didn't change from Q1 to Q2, but everyone else seemed to go a little bit faster, and he was probably a little bit disappointed with himself that they couldn't find something. But as usual, as you just said, the team was working hard overnight to try and find that little bit of extra pace that Max needs if he thinks he's going to be able to challenge Broc Pearson and Tommy Edwards.
Keep an eye on Johnny Littress too, because he was quite fast in the morning warm-up this morning. So remembering that, not a lot of experience on the 600, pretty much a mum and dad team there. So, he's a guy that the more laps he does, the faster he gets. And, he is an absolute talent. So Johnny Littress, definitely one to keep an eye on this one.
Looks like Scotty Nicholson, first rider back to the grid. Did I hear a rumour that he's actually going to pull up stumps and retire at the end of this season and go overseas and help some other young riders that are actually moving overseas at the end of the year? So if he does do that, it'll be disappointing because he's been certainly a big improver this year in the Motorsports TV Supersport class.
Well, he's a big talent, he is.
So the riders coming back to take up their positions on the grid. Broc Pearson, championship leader by 8 points, will start from pole position. Tommy Edwards, second in the championship, will start out of second. Max Stauffer, third in the championship. He will start out of fourth position. We're ready to go racing for Motorsports TV Supersport. Red flag has left the grid. Supersport is go. Good start from Luke Power. It looks like he's got the Kawasaki off the line well, but Broc Pearson has got the inside running as they come down towards turn one, charging through from the second row of the grid. It looks like it is Max Stauffer that he's going to nail them into turn one, and he does. Max takes the lead from turn one. A great start from row two on board bike number 127. That's exactly where he needs to be. Tom Edwards and Broc Pearson right behind him, and Luke Power in fourth place.
Yeah, Luke Power there looking to go around the outside of Broc Pearson, but they are the first four guys in the championship positions as well. So Max Stauffer is exactly where he needs to be. He's going to be hard to push down, but Tommy Edwards, I'll tell you, he's a fighter. He'll nip up the inside. It won't be long. Broc Pearson is very, very smooth. You can see two of the guys going really wide there.
Yeah, I think that's getting a little bit over exuberant in the only the first lap of the race as they come down to this area where you're saying about, Steve, all of those right-hand corners through 8, 9, 10 and 11. One after the other, it's blind, and there's some off-camber corners in there as well, but it is Tommy Edwards now that he's into the lead, getting the better of Max Stauffer. Broc Pearson just wanted to bet himself into the first part of this race, and he's done a pretty good job because he's caught up onto the back of Max now. And they've gapped the rest of the field. Not unusual because we've seen it happen plenty of times this year. They are the three class acts of this Motorsports TV Supersport field. And look at Tom Edwards. He's pinned the ears back now on board the Bike Biz machine, and he's starting to eke out a small lead over Max and Broc Pearson.
Yeah, Tom Edwards definitely remembering that he's probably had the least time on this brand new Yamaha. Raced and started the season on the older model. So finally he's got the good bike. He's had a little bit of time to adapt with it now, and he's certainly making headway at the start of this race.
Looks like Billy Van Aert's got off to a cracking start as well. Looked like he was struggling for pace early on in the weekend, but he's now moved up into fifth position behind Luke Power. Keep an eye out for him on the green-coloured Yamaha. He's riding the old version Yamaha as well, is Billy. As they come across the line now, Steve, to complete the first lap, it is Tom Edwards that leads by 0.8 of a second over Max Stauffer and Broc Pearson.
Yeah, absolutely. What a great start by Tommy Edwards there. He's done exactly what you need to do. Broc Pearson goes past up the inside there of Maxi Stauffer. Good move by him. Good to see Luke Power there, as you said. Billy Van Aert, Johnny Littress is right in there behind too. So all those guys have got their pace. This first 2 or 3 laps, everyone's going to settle down. There's Tommy Bramich coming through.
Yeah, it's good to see because I think Billy Van Aert was really struggling early on in the weekend, so they've obviously found something. And maybe it was when Jack Miller was down there swinging spanners around on the machine yesterday. But down into Alpine Stars corner now, it is Broc Pearson in second place, just trying to peg back that little bit of a lead that Tom Edwards has opened up. But Tom Edwards is absolutely flying. Look at the gap that he's just continuing to increase that gap. It's up to 0.9 of a second now, approaching that psychological 1 second barrier.
So he got all that time on the opening lap, like he was a 59.4 from a pretty much standing start. Oh, we've got a faller there. That's not Tom Bramich, is it?
I think it is. Unfortunately, it looked like bike number 44. Tom Bramich had come to grief at Alpine Stars corner. That's the corner that I think you mentioned in your track preview. It's very difficult because it's off camber and you can get it wrong in there because you're on the brakes for a long time on the side of the tyre.
Yeah, you certainly are. It's easy to lose the front there. Looks like that's what Tommy's done. But Broc Pearson has got a lot of work to do now, pretty much because Tommy Edwards just pulled the pin on that opening lap. And that opening lap is the lap that you can make up the most time, you know what I mean? Because everyone's sort of like off their lap time. So if you can just pull out, it's easier to pull out a second lead in the first lap than it is in the second and the third lap, if you can understand what I'm saying.
And he's nearly pulled out another full second on this lap because as they went across the line, the lead was 0.8 of a second. It's now up to 1.6 seconds as they come through intermediate number 3. And as they go across the line, the lead is now 1.8 seconds. So he's taken 1 full second out of both Broc Pearson and Max Stauffer, who their lap times weren't that much apart, but a 1:54.9, the fastest lap of the race for Tom Edwards, who is absolutely smoking them at the front.
For the championship, this is very good news for Tom Edwards, and the man feeling massive pressure right now is the number 17, Broc Pearson, because literally that gap is going to come down to almost a couple of points.
It will be 3 points if they stay in those positions at the end of this race. 25 points for first, 20 points for second, 18 points for third.
So the pressure's on Broc Pearson now. Like, you know, he knows what he's got to do. He's got to try and catch up to Broc Pearson, remembering that after about 5 or 6 or 7 laps, the tyres at this circuit, doesn't matter what brand they are, they're going to probably drop off due to the nature of these corners right here. See how long the right-hand portion of this sector 3 is.
Oh, Broc Pearson, a massive moment there. He's out of the seat. Oh, how he managed to save that, only us and his launderer will ever know, because that was extremely close.
Absolutely. Broc Pearson, what a save there. And that just shows you the pressure that he's under at the moment. He knows the situation. He knows it's going to come down to the wire. Let's have another look at that. He's gone in there. He's just got on the gas there. So lucky to save that. That was just a matter of luck. Rear end slid out. Just tried to get on the gas that little bit too quick to catch up to Tommy Edwards in front. Got away with that one, but he can't afford another one. And that is how you lose a championship. Tommy Edwards doing a good job at the moment.
And what he's got to do now is he's got to quickly settle his mind and then maintain the pace, because right behind him is Max Stauffer. He can't afford to lose another 2 points. If he does finish in second place, in third place in this race, and Max finishes in second, the gap will come down to 1 point with the championship really on the line in the final race.
No, absolutely. Down the straight they go again. Luke Power there. Billy Van Erd with Johnny Littress. He can't chase Johnny off at the moment, so Johnny Littress just at the back.
On that lap, Broc Pearson was half a second a lap slower. He probably lost half a second in that massive moment, so he was probably on track to record a very similar lap time to our race leader, Tommy Edwards, who did a 1:55.2, a 55.7 for Broc Pearson, and a 56.0 for Max Stauffer. Luke Power also had a good lap. He was a 55.7 as well. And the gap back from Max Stauffer to Luke Power is about half a second.
So the issue that Broc Pearson's got right now is he doesn't have to match the leaders at extremely fast lap times. He has to beat them. He has to actually beat them. And to put it into perspective, Tom Taparis here when we were last here in 2019 did a 1:55.9, and Tom Edwards has just done a 1:55.2, a new lap record.
Yep, he certainly is the new lap record holder, is Tom Edwards, with that extremely fast first flying lap in this race. But look at Luke Power now starting to catch up to the back of Max Stauffer as well. I think that looks like less than half a second now. So it'll be interesting to see our lap times at the end of this or at the end of this fourth lap of the race, Steve, because I think Tom Edwards has just cleared out. There is a massive gap now. All he's got to do is just keep the bike on track, and he will take the win in this race. We're approaching half race distance, and the gap back to our second place rider, Broc Pearson, is 2.8 seconds. In fact, on this lap, Broc Pearson has actually taken a 10th back, or nearly a 10th back on the second half of this lap. But Max Stauffer is also catching up, and so is Luke Power. We're going to have a 3-bike battle for second place in very short order.
Yeah, it's looking that way, isn't it? Luke Power, as we said, like every lap that he does around this circuit, he's just going to get faster and faster and faster and learn more. Remembering he was in the 300 class last year, moving up. Not a lot of time on these 600s. He's also going to America, Moto America Championship next year, so good on Luke. I'm sure he wants to get a good result here, but he's obviously got what it takes.
Yeah, he's showing that he's an extremely fast learner, as we see a good battle here between Scotty Nicholson on board bike number 39, Billy Van Erd on board the 92 machine. That's the green Yamaha, and the man that we mentioned before this race, Johnny Littress, the Queenslander, a multiple Australian dirt track champion. And I think he also won an Australian Supermoto Championship a year or two ago as well. So he doesn't mind getting the bike a little bit sideways. So that's going to be an interesting battle between those three. They're actually battling it out for 5th position on track. Right, so on the last lap, it was a 55.0 for Tom Edwards, a 55.8 for Broc Pearson, and a 55.6 for Max Stauffer. So Max did pull back a little bit of distance. Luke Power also pulled back a little bit of distance. In fact, he was the fastest rider in that three-bike group. And Scotty Nicholson was also setting his fastest lap of the race. That's the reason why he's moved ahead of both Billy Van Erd and Johnny Littris. So there you can see confirmation of what we did before, Steve. If they stay in this order, it will be 3 points difference heading into the last race, and that is clearly a winner-take-all event, because with a 5-point difference between first and second, if you finish first or second and your name's Tom Edwards or Broc Pearson, you'll be crowned champion for Motorsports TV Supersport.
Absolutely, and I think that Broc Pearson at the moment has got a little bit of soul searching to do, because he's 3.6 seconds behind at the moment of Tommy Edwards. He'll be thinking already, how am I going to chop that time? I mean, it's not like half a second. He didn't lose over the line. That's a massive amount of time that he's going to have to find for the second race. Perhaps he's got some sort of issue or problem. If he's got that, he'll know how to find that time. But nevertheless, it's going to be a big day for Broc Pearson at the moment.
And tellingly, he just set his fastest lap of the race, a 55.6. Unfortunately, that was 0.4 of a second slower than our race leader, Tom Edwards, who has, he's dropped back 0.2 of a second from his fastest lap, the 154.956, which is now the new lap record. And that is actually 1 full second just about faster than the old lap record set by Tom Taparis when he dominated the championship a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it's a pretty incredible pace by Tommy Edwards. He's certainly gelled with this new Bike Biz R6.
So Max Stauffer maintaining position there. He's setting fast laps, but unfortunately on that last one, he was just a fraction slower than Broc Pearson. And Luke Powell looks like he's dropped off the back just a fraction from these two as well. So the gap's starting to get a bit bigger back to Luke Power in 4th position. And it doesn't look like Broc Pearson is having this easy. It looks like he's really having to ride the bike physically hard. And Max Stauffer sitting right behind him as well. They've obviously found something overnight, because, as Max said yesterday in qualifying, he just didn't have the pace to go with Broc, but he's managing to do a pretty good job here to stay with him.
It could also be tyre choice as well. There's a couple of different tyre choices, and it's tricky out there at the moment. Although the sun's out, the wind's quite cold, and there are a couple of options. There's a soft option and a hard option. They both may have worked. We don't know who's got what on at the moment, but it could be that those two guys there went for the soft option, and Edwards went for the hard. The hard was obviously the go. So it could be as simple as that.
So 2/3 race distance. Max Stauffer comes up the inside. No, can't get past Broc Pearson. He was desperate to hold off the hard-charging man from Mulbring in the Hunter region of New South Wales. So the Queenslander under all sorts of pressure now is Broc Pearson.
Yeah, you know Stauffer's going to have a bit of a dive at this, don't you? And if those two get tangled up, don't forget that Luke Power's just waiting in the background there. What a ride he's having too. That's
and he would
impressive.
love his first podium of the season in his swan song, for now, for the ASBK, as he heads off to the Moto America Championship in 2022. So riding the revised championship rules over there. They're testing the waters with revised championship rules for the Supersport category. And Max Stauffer, he's looking to revise Broc Pearson's position on track as swiftly as he possibly can.
Yeah, Stauffer's bike looks like it's turning in a little bit better as well. Perhaps the setup changes they made make it easier for him to get to that apex. Broc Pearson looks like he can't quite hit the apexes as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how.
Broc Pearson having a sneaky look over the shoulder there too, Steve.
That's not a sneaky look, it's a worried look. Do you know what I mean? He's going, look, I'm doing everything I can, but Max is still there. What's he got in the tank? And we know that this part of the track is where you need to be good. Yesterday, for coming to the finish line, you need to be strong through here so that nobody can overtake you. And we know that Broc Pearson was strong through this part of the track over the weekend. He was quite weak in the other part of the track. And you can just see here, it's unlikely that Max, unless he does something, crazy, is going to be able to get near him through this part of the circuit. Max is a lot closer through sectors 1 and 2.
And I think Tommy Edwards was the man that was the fastest through sectors 1 and 2 in all of the qualifying sessions as well. So they come across the line now to complete 7 laps of the 9-lap journey. So 2 laps to go. Look at Max, he's right in the slipstream. He's in a great position to try and pull out of the slipstream and get a good move on the brakes. He's done it already. He didn't have to wait for the brakes. He just blasted on past.
No, he didn't.
Broc Pearson. He does. He's up into second place. So this is going to have massive championship implications for Broc Pearson, because the gap could be down to as little as 1 point now as they come around through turn 3 and then drive out of Pirelli Corner.
This is where we see what Broc Pearson is really made of. He needs to finish this race, even if it's in third. He can't afford to do anything silly now. Boy, this is going to be a tough 10 kilometres for the man in third place right now.
Let's have a look at this overtaking manoeuvre. Max just used the slipstream to absolute perfection and was actually passed before the end of the pit exit. Didn't even have to put a move on the brakes. He just had to make sure he stayed ahead on the brakes, and Max doesn't mind it when the bike gets a little bit sideways into the corner. That was a big move there on the straight, and Broc Pearson now is back to third place. He desperately needs to make sure that he stays ahead of Luke Power.
Yeah, you might ask, how can he do that? It's quite, so easily. Well, the difference is Broc Pearson's 6 foot something, isn't he? In essence, he's quite tall, so he's quite big on the bike. Max is like a miniature, isn't he?
And when Max turns sideways, you think he's disappeared because he's that thin. He's
right.
Literally like a stick, is Max Stauffer. Trains extremely hard, though. He may be thin, but he's extremely strong, and you need that to really push these Motorsports TV Supersport machines around. But next year, I can confirm for you, Steve Martin, that he'll be jumping up onto a Superbike, so he's going to need even more strength next year when he manhandles an R1 in the Alpines.
Oh, no.
Luke Power is off the track.
That's looks like some sort of mechanical issue.
They did have mechanicals yesterday. That was what prevented him getting out in Q2. But Max Stauffer, he's stepping up to the Superbike class next year and looking pretty smooth at the moment as he holds down second position ahead of our championship leader, Broc Pearson.
55.1 last time through for Tom Edwards. He has not backed off. 55.5 that time through for Maxi Stauffer, so pretty impressive. And Stauffer's best lap time, 55.2. He was running the pace of the leader, but being held up.
Well, and the other thing was, though, too, that in, I think it was 4 laps in a row, he actually set his fastest lap of the race. So whatever they've done to the bike, it's maintaining its pace throughout the entire race. But as we said, Steve, that championship battle is now down to 1 point with 1 race to go.
Yeah, and Stauffer's not out of this either yet. Like, next race it's gonna be on. There's definitely, between Tom Edwards and Broc Pearson.
Well, Broc Pearson's bike moving around there. Of course, this is the final lap now, so we've got less than 18 corners to go.
You can imagine that he's going to have a dip. This is the most dangerous part of the weekend for Broc Pearson for it all to go wrong. So let's just hope he holds it together and they can work on whatever it is to find those extra seconds, because Tom Edwards now is 5 seconds in front.
And that was the area of the circuit where he had that massive moment a little while ago. They're through Dane's corner now and out onto the back straight. So he needs to get himself into position.
He got a good run. That's a good run for Pearson, but no, the 1.27 machine of Max Stauffer holds him off. Not far to go now. He's wide. He's gone wide there as Broc Pearson too. He's getting desperate now. Hard on the brakes again they go, Maxi Stauffer. It's bumpy there, but they both get through it. He's got to close that gap if he can. He's running out of opportunities now.
Through Ducati corner and over the hill. There's only 2 more opportunities to get Max on the brakes. One of them comes up here at the final corner, at the My Bike corner. He can't get in there as deep as Max on the brakes. Can they both maintain good drive out? Coming up to the final corner now. There is one overtaking opportunity left, Steve Martin, and that is a draft to the line. But your winner is Tom Edwards. He closes down the championship lead with a sensational victory. And coming to the line now, it is Max Stauffer that will take second. And Tom Edwards has added to his list of victories for this year with a sensational pressure-filled victory at the Ben Motorsport Park in race 1 of the 2-race program for the Motorsports TV Supersport. Max Stauffer in second, Broc Pearson in third, Scott Nicholson takes fourth. That'll be his best result of the year, I would say. Actually, no, he got third in race 1 at Winton, so it's his second best result of the year. Johnny Littrus in 5th, Billy Van Erd in 6th place, and Harry Voigt in 7th, Dallas Skier in 8th. Looks like Tim Large is still out there inside the top 10 as well. But congratulations go to Tom Edwards. Well, he had just as much pressure on him as anyone else in that race, but he rode a fantastic race. And I think after the second lap, it wasn't any doubt of who was going to win the race if he could keep it upright.
Yeah, I mean, the man with the pressure on his shoulders now is Broc Pearson. It's going to be a big one.
So Tom Edwards takes the win by 5.7 seconds over Max Stauffer and Broc Pearson in third place. Scott Nicholson in fourth, Littrus fifth, Van Erd, Voigt, Skier, Large and Mahn round out the top 10. But Tom Edwards really has put the pressure on Broc Pearson now. The gap is down to 1 single point as we go into the last race of the season.
Yeah, Broc Pearson not going to have a good lunch break today. They'll be working feverishly in the pits to try and sort that bike out, to see what they can do to knock back that deficit. Angelides in 11th. Luke Power obviously didn't finish, and Tom Bramich also had that small crash. Hope those guys get out there next time.
Now down to KP at the AMX Superstore's podium with our top three.
For the Motorsports TV Supersport 600, race 1, Broc Pearson. Probably not where we thought you were going to end up in this race, P3.
Yeah, I had a few moments at the start and it cost me a lot of time, and then maybe it cost me a little bit of tyre as well. I'm not too sure, but anyways, we'll have a think and try to come out for race 2 a lot better.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, best of luck this afternoon. We'll be rooting for you. Thanks very much, Broc.
Thank you.
Max Stauffer, congratulations, P2. You qualified in P5, so it's not all about getting on the front of the grid, is it?
Yeah, look, I was pretty worried coming in today, to be honest. You know, I felt good all Friday, and then I really struggled Saturday in qualifying. But to get second in the race and battle with Broc all race, I'm pretty happy with that. We've got a few things we need to work on to catch Tom, but I don't think it's out of reach.
Yeah, congratulations. Well done, Max from GTR Motorstars. Come on over, Tommy Edwards, a win. Yoo-hoo! You were so relaxed on the grid for Bike Biz Racing, my gosh, and you just went out there, got a great start and a good gap as well. Well done.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, someone interviewed me yesterday or before the race or something and said, oh, what are you going to do if it comes into the last corner and you're with the boys? And I said, I mean, I don't really want to think about it. The ideal race is to kind of be that little bit quicker and just get enough of a gap and not see anyone the whole race, but which is what I was able to do after I passed Maxi on the first lap, and bike felt great. I felt really comfortable. You know, I've still got some improvements I can make for the second race, and I definitely got something up my sleeve if the boys do pick up their pace a bit for the next one.
Well, the championship continues, my friend, but congratulations on this win.
Thank you.
All right, team, we will be back with more, plenty more racing right after this break. Welcome back to the 2021 My Bike Motorcycle Insurance Australian Superbike Championship presented by Motul, and we are on the grid for the Motorsports TV Supersport 600 category, and we have one of the front runners in pole position, Broc Pearson. Broc, can you wrap it up right now?
Yeah, look, we're going to do our best. I'm going to give it absolutely everything, so let's do it.
Excellent stuff, my friend. Good luck. And one quickly with the smiling assassin, Tommy Edwards. Are we smiling? Can we do it? Can we take it to Broc?
Yeah, I mean, after race 1's performance, I think we should be sweet.
Yeah, I reckon. Okay, good luck, buddy. I'm going to send it right back up to you guys in the commentary box. See you, Steve and Phil.
Thanks, KP. Yes, Broc Pearson sits on pole position, but it's also his 21st birthday to do today, Steve Martin, as well. Also, a big happy birthday to Angus Grenfell, who was 15 today as well. And also, while we're celebrating birthdays, a big happy birthday to my dad, John, who is celebrating his 80th birthday today. Happy birthday, Dad. Sorry I couldn't be there, but there's motorbike racing on in Adelaide. That's where I needed to be, and we're about to get underway with the Supersport Championship. This one is on the line. 1 point separates Broc Pearson in the lead and Tom Edwards, who won in race 1, in the head of the championship, and Max Stauffer is only 12 points further be back in third place.
Yeah, it's going to be an absolute cracker between the two guys up front, because whoever wins out of those two guys, Broc Pearson, Tommy Edwards, is going to take that championship. And I'm sure it'd be a great birthday present for Broc Pearson if he did win today. But he's up against it because this morning Tommy Edwards was unstoppable. He was absolutely on fire out there on track. And let's not forget Maxi Stauffer as well, because although he's starting from the second row of the grid, he was right up there too.
So getting ready to go now. The warm-up lap will commence in about 30 seconds, so just a bit of time for the riders to reflect on the grid. How's your nerves if you're Broc Pearson or Tom Edwards and the championship has come down to 1 point at the last race?
Well, Tom Edwards just won by 3 seconds. He won easy the first race, so he's feeling pretty good right now. Broc Pearson is feeling pretty nervous and hoping that whatever changes he made in between race 1 this morning and now are going to make the difference, and he can actually run with Tom Edwards. Broc Pearson will know in the first 1 or 2 laps whether that's worked. If he's with Tommy Edwards at that point, well, then it will be on. But if he's dropping back, mistakes could creep in. The pressure is certainly on the number 17, Broc Pearson, right now.
And it's also 15 years since Max Stauffer's dad, Jamie, won the first of his 2 Supersport championships in 2006 when he did the double in the Superbike and Supersport category. And that's only been done a few times in history when you look at the names that have done it. Josh Brooks and Adam Krusty Ferguson and also Jamie Stauffer. There's some pretty talented riders amongst that lot.
Yeah, it certainly is. It'd be great to be included amongst those names for these youngsters. But the pressure is on, and let's not forget the other guys out there that can take it to them as well. Luke Power, what a weekend he's having. Scott Nicholson put in a good performance last time out too. Jack Passfeld is there. Tom Bramich fell off early, but we could see something from him.
He's not as good a place as Broc Pearson because he sits on the front row of the grid with Tom Edwards and Luke Power. Remember, the gap between them is 1 point between Pearson and Edwards at the top of the championship. Third place in the championship, 12 points behind Max Stauffer. Starts the second row. He's got young Queenslander Johnny Lintris and the Victorian Tom Bramich joining him on row 2.
Billy Van Erd, Harrison Voigt and Scott Nicholson round out row 3.
Good to see Billy Van Erd and Harry Voigt coming back from overseas to essentially do what Jack Miller and Josh Hook have done, turn up and do some racing with their mates to start their holiday.
Oh, absolutely fantastic. Real good way for them to finish the year, to come back home, showcase themselves in front of all the fans here. A lot of the fans are here this weekend to see all the Australian guys, but all the internationals returning as well. There's a bunch of them here, so really looking forward to getting this race underway and see how they all pan out.
So we're ready to go racing. Motorsports TV Supersport class. Down to the wire, 1 point between our championship leader Broc Pearson and second place Tom Edwards. Last race for Luke Power before he heads off to 3D Motorsports in the Moto America Championship in 2022. Here we go. Motorsports TV Supersport is go. Good start off the front row of the grid from Broc Pearson. He looks like he got a great jump, and Tom Edwards will be challenging him on the brakes as they get down towards turn 1. Where's Max Stauffer? Has he got a good start as well? He has. He's on the outside, and he could very well be in a very good place when they come through turn 1 for the first time. He is. He's in second place. Broc Pearson's in third, but Edwards on bike number 26 leads with an excellent start from Billy Van Erd. He's up into fourth place.
Yeah, real good start for Billy Van Erd, but look at Broc Pearson now. It's on between the two guys out front. Tommy Edwards is right where he needs to be. Have the change that Broc Pearson's made. Will they be enough to keep him at the front? We're going to find out really soon, but Tommy Edwards is already stretching out a small lead. Broc Pearson, hard on the brakes, pulls him in. Up the inside goes Billy Van Erd, runs a little bit wide, and Max Stauffer goes through again.
You can see Broc Pearson was desperate to get past Max in those first couple of corners and made sure he was in a position to be able to go with him. Billy Van Erd's up to third place, getting the better of Max Stauffer on board 127. Next rider back after him is Luke Power on board bike number 68. He's brought out the pink livery for this weekend for his last race in ASBK for the next for the foreseeable future, and you certainly won't miss him on track with those pink wheels and pink fairings.
No, absolutely fantastic. See, a bit of a slide there for Tommy Edwards. He's on the gas nice and early. 9 laps around this track for him. He won't want to start spinning the wheel up that early like that. He'll run out of tyre if he's not careful. But Broc Pearson is right where he needs to be. Tommy Edwards had a decent lead this morning at this point in the race. He hasn't been able to do it this time round, so perhaps those changes for Broc have worked.
Well, I'm just looking at it too. In the first race this morning, Tom Edwards was nice and smooth over the first lap while he was putting that lead on everybody else. You can see he's riding with far more aggression here, and Broc Pearson is going with him. That's got to be pretty good signs at the end of the first lap for Broc Pearson, because he couldn't do that this morning.
No, he definitely couldn't do that. And look who is in third place. It's the number 92, the international, Billy Van Erd, of course, won the 300 Supersport Championship. But he's wide there, real wide, but hangs it all together. Luke Power's there as well. Max Stauffer watching the other two guys get away. Not where he wants to be if he wants to try and make his chance of winning this championship 15 years after his dad did.
Well, Max is strong on the brakes, and he manages to get ahead and then hold off a hard-charging Billy down into the first corner. But it is Edwards with a 1:58.8 from a flying lap. Pretty much only a couple of tenths behind him was Broc Pearson as they came across the line. The lead was 0.4 of a second, but it didn't really look like it was that much as they went across the line.
58.8 on a flying lap. To put that into perspective, Wayne Maxwell on the Superbike's fastest flying lap, the first lap was a 56.6. So that is a stellar first lap for Tommy Edwards, and Broc Pearson's doing his best to hang on too.
So remember, Broc Pearson had a massive moment halfway through the first race when he was trying to up the pace to go with Tom Edwards. It was in this area of the circuit too, wasn't it, Steve? Coming out of that corner, in fact, was where that big moment happened for Broc Pearson. Doesn't look to be having any trouble at the moment, but Pearson just can't seem to go with the pace, and Edwards is taking out a tenth at every intermediate. It was 0.4 at the end of the last lap. It was 0.5 at intermediate 1. It was 0.6 at intermediate number 2. And as they come round towards the intermediate number 3 mark now, we'll get an idea of the progress that Tom Edwards has been able to get at the front. But Broc Pearson, to me, looks like he's been able to fight back.
Up the inside, Luke Power having a look with Billy Van Erd there. tucks it in nice and tight.
He has. He's taken back a tenth of a second, Broc Pearson, as they come through intermediate number 1. Remember, it was Tom Edwards that was fast through the first half of the lap, and it was Broc Pearson that was fast through the second half of the lap.
Yep, so that's going to pan out well for him. He should pull in a few more tenths this time round, and he has. Look at that. He's right there now as Broc Pearson. But there is no can't for Broc Pearson. There's no point finishing where he is right now. He's got to lay it on the line if he wants to win this championship. He came in with a decent lead, and that's been nibbled away now. So Broc Pearson, boy, he will not want to finish.
Oh, Billy's down.
Yep, Billy Van Eerd just looks like it was an innocuous crash. Looks like he may have lost the front, picks it back up. He'll probably get out there and keep going around just for a bit of fun. There's Johnny Littress and Tom Bramich. Tom Bramich up the inside there. Didn't get to do many laps in the first race, did Tom Bramich, but Johnny Littress, he was good.
So Bramich now up into fifth place on board bike number 44, just getting ahead of the Queenslander Littress on the 308 machine.
Harrison Voigt in there too, another international coming back. So good to see Harrison Voigt making his way down to Tail and Bend.
And I believe they only picked up that bike on Monday, the bike put together by Jamie Stauffer, who of course builds Max's bikes as well. So a very nice machine there for Harry Voigt to do some training on in the off-season here in Australia as well, as we look at this battle between Bramich, Littress and Harry Voigt on board the 29 machine.
This is a good ride by Tom Bramich. He struggled on the 600 pretty much up to this point, but had a crash in race 1, but running around that 5th, 6th position, that's the best that I've seen him ride so far.
Good to see so many former Supersport 300 champions running in this field with, unfortunately, Billy Van Eerd crashing out, but Tom Bramich, also a former champion in this class. Max Stauffer, a former runner-up in the Supersport 300 championship as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Didn't Tom Bramich also win the 125 championship many years ago? He may well have done, I think.
He's won a lot of historic races too, has Tom Bramich.
Yeah, and that he's certainly been around for a while.
Broc Pearson's in the lead. Broc Pearson has got into the lead, so I'm not sure if it is a mistake for Tom Edwards while we were looking at the rest of the field, but Broc Pearson is definitely in the lead. Oh, this is game on, Steve, because as we know, they came into this race 1 point apart. There is 5 points difference between first and second. This is literally winner takes all, and at the moment, that is Broc Pearson, the man celebrating his 21st birthday today, that leads the championship and leads the race.
Well, something happened because Tom Edwards just set the outright 600 lap record the lap before with a 154.6. He must have had some big moment and it looks like Broc Pearson managed to get past. So lucky for Tom Edwards, he held it together. Not sure what the issue is there. Perhaps his rear tyre's gone off, I don't know. Hopefully we get a replay of what caused that, but it's on now.
He took 0.3 of a second out of his lap record that he set in race number 1 this morning. So he was absolutely motoring at the front, and Broc Pearson's been able to go with him because he's done a 54.8. That's also under the old lap record that was set this morning as well. Unfortunately, just 0.2 of a second behind the fastest lap set in this race by Tom Edwards.
Yeah, well, it's on now. It's on. Broc Pearson's wearing. He's having a look behind him. Look at Broc Pearson. He's worried about Tommy Edwards. He can't believe he's still there. So something big must have happened. Yeah, let's have a look. He's waiting for him. What happened there? We just...
Well, maybe he's had the moment and then he's looked behind to make sure to see how much lead he still actually had.
Yeah,
but,
I think we just...
uncharacteristic of Tom Edwards to be stopping and looking behind and playing silly games.
I think we just missed the incident there, but that would look to me like... Look, here we go again. Now, they're both looking around to see what's happening. There's no point looking around, Broc. You just need to keep going.
They've been watching too much Fabian Ferrari.
Yeah,
remember, that was his go, wasn't it? Always looking behind him to see where he was going, or not where he was been.
Absolutely, that was a long time ago, but that was Fabian Ferrari's style. Broc Pearson now just literally hanging on out front. Interesting to see. We'll have to have a look at the lap times now. 56s. They've gone from doing 54s to 56.1 for Tom Edwards. So that was definitely some sort of issue he had the lap before, and 55.1 for Broc Pearson.
Time for an update from the pits. KP?
Okay, yeah, cool. All right, he's dressed. G'day, team. G'day. We've got Billy Van Eerd right here. Billy, what happened out there? You were pushing pretty hard.
Yeah, just pushing too hard, trying to do too much, and with what I got, and yeah, I just lost the front. It was a slow crash, but no, I was having fun with the boys there at the beginning, and yeah, it's a shame I crashed, but it is what it is.
And what words did Jack Miller have?
Nah, he was just saying, like, good job for trying and that, but no, I've had a fun weekend. Thanks to Trinda for lending the bike and everyone, and yeah, hopefully I can do it again one day.
Yeah, mate, excellent effort out there. It was pretty hard. You did great, so you should be happy with yourself, and you can head on back and hang out with Jack and Josh Hook at Andorra.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Excellent stuff. Back to you, Steve and Phil.
Thanks, KP. It is still Broc Pearson that leads this race, but Tom Edwards is not going away. He's right behind him. Let's have a look at an AMX Superstore's replay. That is what happened, Steve. That's why he was looking behind him, because that was a massive moment. That was, once again, the exit of the Dainese corner. It's happened plenty of times so far this weekend.
You've got to be so careful out of there, and he's just pushed it that little bit too hard. And now you can see that Broc Pearson is able to open up that gap, because all of a sudden, all of that confidence that Tom Edwards had has disappeared a little bit.
On the last lap, there was 11 thousandths of a second between the lap times of Broc Pearson and Tom Edwards. A 1:55.655 for Pearson and a 1:55.666 for Tommy Edwards. But faster than them by 1/10 of a second was Max Stauffer with a 1:55.6.
Yeah, pretty impressive lap times by all of those guys out there at the moment. But the championship is on between these two guys now. It's going to take a lap or two for Tom Edwards to recover from that moment and get a little bit of trust back in his machine and his tyres. But he'll be definitely taking it a little bit more sensible around that corner.
Coming around to complete 5 laps now of the 9-lap race. So we're just over half race distance. Max Stauffer and Luke Power have just set their fastest laps of the race too. Max Stauffer a 1:55.1, faster than our 2 leaders, and a 54.973, the fastest lap of his race for Luke Power, who's currently sitting in 4th place and just starting to crawl back that little bit of a distance between himself and Max now. This is going to be a final, a real final battle for this championship, not only for the top 2, but also for 3rd place as well. Can Max Stauffer try and get up with the leaders and get himself injected into this battle?
Well, it's going to be difficult for him. I think Max Stauffer now just has to hold off Luke Power. Luke Power is having the race of his life in the 600 class. Remember, he's fairly new to these machines, so it's really good to see him coming of age and being able to learn from Maxi Stauffer, although Max is quite young. But back up here now, it looks like Tommy Edwards. Look at that extra corner speed he's carried in there. He's closed that gap right up. He's very strong on the front end, is Tommy Edwards.
Well, regardless of what happens in this race, it has been confirmed that Broc Pearson and Max Stauffer will both be stepping up to the Alpine Stars Superbike class in 2022. We don't know what Tom Edwards is doing yet, but at the moment he's putting a lot of pressure on Tom Edwards to try and take home this championship. Coming into the Dunlop corner, it is still Pearson that leads from Edwards. Stauffer not too far back behind on board bike number 127.
Well, we're 6 laps in with 3 laps to go now, so that initial grip that these tyres had has disappeared, so it's pretty much down to setup now. Who's done the best setup on their machines? Once again, look at Edwards now. He's opened up. He's looking for a way past. He's come through on the brakes. Edwards did that easy. He's used the track. He's run Broc Pearson a little bit wide. Now he's put the hammer down again. It's going to be interesting to see what Broc Pearson can do. Can Pearson run with him? He's got to slipstream him if he can and try and get him straight back at him into turn 1.
Well, it's going to be a big move on the brakes, but Pearson is in the slipstream. Nothing between the 2 Yamaha YZF-R6s as they make their way down the straight. Now Pearson pulls out of the slipstream, goes back up the inside on the brakes. He's got to get it stopped and turned, Steve. It's not something that everyone's been able to do this weekend. Turn 1 has caught many people out, but he manages to do it. He's back into the lead, Broc Pearson, and this is going to be a battle right down to the wire. We've got 3 laps left, and there's going to be 3 very hectic laps at the front.
But one thing that happened that lap is where Tom Edwards just overtook through the last sector there, up through Ducati 15-16. That is the perfect opportunity to overtake in turn 17, the My Bike Motorcycle Insurance corner, to make your way over the line first. So it looks like Tommy Edwards was just doing a little bit of a test run there for the final lap.
Luke Power is also right onto the back of Max Stauffer. He was half a second quicker than Max on the last lap, a 1:55.1 as opposed to Max's 1:55.6. But the slowest man out of that lead group on the last lap was actually Broc Pearson with a 1:56.0.
Yeah, that's a pretty impressive lap time by Luke Power, 55.1. That's the fastest lap on the track at that point in time. So really impressive stuff.
So it is still Pearson leading from Edwards. He's pulled out a couple of bike lengths lead over Tommy Edwards there. And this is the area, though, where Tom Edwards was fast. He pulled back a bit of distance here, and that was what allowed him to get into a position to put on that move into the My Bike Motorcycle Insurance corner. It's only a couple of turns away because they go left around here through this bowl section that you can't really appreciate the elevation change through that area of the circuit. That's where I've seen a few other riders get a bit squirrely on the rear end as they apply the power to go up over that crest and down here into this corner. That's a big drop down into there, Steve. You get plenty of roll-on effect, and really it's a hard place to outbrake someone when you're travelling in there so fast and that corner is so tight.
Certainly is. Pearson has another look over his shoulder. Bit of a chatter moment there for Pearson. He will have lost a little bit of drive there down the front straight, but manages to hold it together. And Tom Edwards, I don't think, is going to pull out of the slipstream this time round. He does pull out. Can he ever go up the inside? Pearson strong on the brakes, but Edwards is going for it. Oh, that's close.
Well, and on that last lap, it was Broc Pearson that was the fastest lap out of the fastest lapper out of the riders. But it looks like he's had a bit of wind in that Blair, blowing up a lot of dust onto the track at the moment, because Pearson did a 155.9, Edwards did a 155.2, Max Stauffer and Luke Power 155.3.
Well, there's two distinct groups out there at the moment. Another little moment from Broc Pearson on the brakes. You can just see again, Tommy Edwards takes that different line there as they head out of Upon Stars and into Yamaha Financial Services. Turn 8, turn 9. Up the inside, look at this. He tries to line it up, but he can't do it.
Yeah, I think he was trying to think about going up the inside here, but this is the corner where we've seen other people overtake in other classes, but I don't think with the extra speed and power of the Supersport bikes it's possible to get them through there.
Well, you're going way faster and using more of the track, so it's, you know, it is hard there.
Using up a lot more grip from the tyres as well.
And that.
So out of Dane East we come, onto the back straight, Steve. And it's still Pearson. He is riding for this championship with pressure on his shoulders, and a man with a fair bit of experience riding overseas internationally. But then again, you can say the same about Tom Edwards. He's ridden overseas internationally. He's ridden in one of the hardest fought championships in the world, the Supersport 300 Championship. Max Stauffer has also been overseas, and Luke Powell will be heading over there next year. For such young men, they've got a lot of experience, and they're bringing it to bear in this race because they're fighting for the Motorsports TV Supersport.
And here we go. Tom Edwards up the inside. He does it again. He got great drive out of the Ducati corner and gets a good drive up the start-finish straight.
Well, he needed to get the drive out of there, and he did, but Broc Pearson, once again, is going to be in the slipstream as they come round to get the last lap board. 8 laps down, 1 lap to go. Supersport Championship on the line. Pearson is in the slipstream. Can he pull out when they get towards turn 1 and put a move on Tom Edwards like he did last time that he was bested at My Bike Motorcycle Insurance corner? He does. He goes back into the lead.
Can he hold it together, though? He does. He runs a little wide, but he manages to hold it together. Tommy Edwards now is tight there, which is exactly where you need to be. He lines himself up for the cut-back move.
On the last lap, we were just looking at it, Broc Pearson was actually 0.5 of a second slower than what Tom Edwards was, and Max Stauffer was faster than the lot of them.
Well, I just want to say that when you look at the lap times of this race, oh, here we go. It doesn't get much closer than that on the last lap. He tries to go up the inside. He can't do it. He's going to cut again to the inside, but he can't do it. Broc Pearson is the one that's improved and come forward because they've broken the lap record in this race. So, you know, that 3-second deficit, they have made a change or something to the bike on Broc Pearson's machine, which has made him quicker, not Tommy Edwards.
If anything, he started to pull out a little bit of a gap, Broc Pearson. He's just got to keep it on track now because we're coming up to the area where he had that massive moment in the race earlier on today. So Broc Pearson fast through that corner, down into the Dunlop corner now, up over the hill, and it's Tom Edwards close enough to try and do a repeat of that overtaking manoeuvre into My Bike Motorcycle Insurance. You can be sure that Pearson's going to run in there a lot faster than he did last time. Another little bit of movement from bike number 17 as he puts every bit of stress through those tyres now with only 3 corners to go.
And this is Edwards. Edwards is lining it up, but Pearson's fast this time. Edwards has gone to the outside. Pearson closes the gap. He can't do it this time. Broc's got the inside line. A bit of a moment. This is it. This is going to be the moment where he's going to be able to get more drive. Tries to go round, gets cut off.
It's going to be a slipstream to the line. It is Pearson that comes out in front. Tom Edwards riding his slipstream as they come to the line now. Pearson is holding on, and he gets there. He takes the chance. championship. He takes the race win. Broc Pearson, happy 21st birthday with a championship to his name. Tom Edwards finishes in second place. Max Stauffer comes across the line in third and will be the third place rider in the championship as well. And Luke Power, I thought that happened at the penultimate corner on the exit of my bike. I just saw a flash in the back of the screen and I thought, hope that's not one of them gone down. Unfortunately it was, and doesn't end well for the rider on board bike number 68, Luke Power. Well, congratulations to Broc Pearson, the Motorsports TV Supersport champion. He had to earn that one over a very, very fast Tom Edwards. What a race. That top three in your championship have certainly put on a show this year.
That was just incredible. What a race. What a ride from Broc Pearson. It looked like Tommy Edwards was going to romp away with this race after race one earlier today, but him and that team have just done amazing things. They found time, a lot of time in the bike there, whatever they did, whether they had a problem in race one, but nevertheless, Broc Pearson's pulled through.
I think that's a sense of relief, excitement. I don't think he really knows what to think at the moment because there was so much pressure on him going into this race. That championship lead of 8 points coming into the races today was whittled away to 1 point. So massive congratulations to Broc Pearson and the team. And as we know, he will be stepping up to the Superbike class next year along with Max Stauffer. I can't wait to see both of them going head-to-head on board Yamaha R1s in the Alpine Stars Superbike class next year.
No, it's going to be fantastic to see that. Boy, they're going to have a big learning curve, but I'll tell you what, Broc Pearson will sleep well until the next race in February.
He takes the race win by 0.050 of a second over Tom Edwards, who put on a sterling ride this morning and this afternoon to finish in second in the championship. Max Stauffer in third, the top three in the race, the top three in the championship. Johnny Litchis in fourth, Scott Nicholson in fifth, Dallas Skier came back to sixth place, Tom Bramich in seventh, Tim Large in eighth, Noel Mann in ninth, and Luke Power rounds out the top 10, but unfortunately didn't finish the race. The final points, Broc Pearson on 135 takes the championship by 6 points from Tom Edwards. It came right down to the wire. It came down to the last lap of the last race. Max Stauffer rounds out third in the championship. They have been the top three this year. They're the top three in this race. They're the top three in the championship, and they're in the AMX podium area with KP.
Motorsports TV Supersport 600 champion and race winner Broc Pearson. Congratulations, YRD Racing. You worked real hard out there.
Yeah, thank you. I have to give it out to Tommy this weekend. He's just made my work cut out for me. He's a great sportsman, and we've been rivals our whole life, and I couldn't rather to battle out with someone else on the track. So firstly, thanks to him for pushing me. He's had a great year, and to my team, we've done such an amazing job. I've fought through hell to be where I am today, so I'm really proud of myself, and everyone out there watching, my mum and my girlfriend at work, she's missing it, so she'll have a nice surprise, and thanks.
Yeah, you worked through a lot of injuries and you're heading straight to Superbikes next year, so this is a really emotional moment for you and it's absolutely fantastic.
Thanks, Kate. I'll enjoy my day.
Yeah, excellent. Thanks, mate. So that wraps a really, really massive weekend of racing for the 2021 My Bike Motorcycle Insurance Australian Superbike Championship. We have seen it all, but it's great to end on a high, and thank you for having me on board to host the coverage this year. I cannot wait to maybe join you again next year, but either way, we're going to go racing and I cannot wait. So we'll see you next time. Have a great Christmas.